How you doing?
I'm ready.
All right. Every day.
Dominance.
Every day. Hi, Bill.
Morning. How are you?
Let's get together today.
All right.
I'll figure out a time.
Okay. How's our board total?
So he's here. He's going through a couple tests to get him on the field. My plan is to get him in the game tomorrow, but until we get the, I don't know the corresponding move yet. We're still kind of working through kind of how we navigate that, but he's present, and I got a chance to say hello to him. Really excited.
Could Hanley going on a 60-day be an option there? Is he going to be ready kind of before that?
I don't think that'll be an option.
What do you know about Alberto? Where does he fit in?
I know that there's a really good defender. Really like him against left. Over the top makeup. Talked to Mike Matheny about him, and just a consummate professional. So he's going to be very additive to our ball club. I think we can move him around the diamond. He might even be the emergency catcher. I've heard he can catch. He's caught some pens, so that's added depth, which is good.
Does he know that?
He hasn't. I haven't had that conversation with him yet. But no, I think he's just a plus defender at a lot of different spots, and like the right-handed bat.
Do you know how ready he is? Like, if this is gonna hurt him, how much time he's missed?
From talking to him briefly, he's been doing a lot of things back home, and so he's ready to go. He's chomping at the bit to get going, and once we can kind of get the green light, I'm going to run him out there.
Dave, Clayton just picked up the baseball in January. Has this exceeded your expectations of what he's been able to do?
It has, and not just from where he was at as he ended, and just hearing recently when he picked up a baseball, to know that today he's going to go 2 innings, and just the way he feels and looks, it's just really encouraging. So again, I don't want to say it's surprising as I was doubting him,
Right.
but just kind of coming off of last year and before the lockout, where he was at as far as health, and now where he's at today is really positive.
Are you guys still in the mode of trying to protect him from himself? Because obviously he wants to keep throwing the ball.
I think that he's always going to be a guy that is going to push the limits of what he should or can or can't do. But I do believe that we have enough equity and trust that when we ask him to back off or to change his workout regimen, things like that, he's as open as he's ever been.
Do you think he's pushing himself even a little harder this spring, just to whether it's confirm to himself that the elbow's okay, or that coming off of last year that he can't handle a full workload, or is this kind of normal for him, what he's been doing?
I would actually argue that it's the other way, in the sense of, first off, that there's nothing for him to, and I know your question, the context of the question, as far as proving himself, he feels good, and so his question to himself and us to him is, you feel good, how are we going to keep you feeling good? So I think that right now it's a little less is more, and kind of the maintenance and your body, you're in a good place right now, the throwing, so there doesn't need to be the excess workload in the weight room, the extra excess of overthrowing. It's like he's in a great place right now.
Should we be reading into Walker and Clayton in terms of opening day?
No, I don't think so. I think that right now, yes, the season is approaching quickly, but I don't think so.
You don't have an opening day starter yet?
Well, I'll have one soon. We don't have one, but we'll have one very soon. I have one.
You just don't want to announce it.
Yeah.
Dave, today for Clayton, what are the parameters for him today? How many innings, how many pitches?
I think 2 innings, and if it's 2 innings and then he can get into the 3rd inning, I think that'd be fantastic.
What's realistic for just how much he could be stretched out by the start of the season?
Honestly, Alden, I think it's today certainly matters. So if all goes well and he gets into the 3rd inning, if you look at the first time through the rotation, to see him touch the 5th inning would be should be conceivable.
Is
got Lux
the
and-
where guys built up, will that play in at all to like how you set up the rotation the first time?
I don't think so. I don't think that that'll have a bearing on the rotation kind of construction now.
Is it
How's
playing?
Mookie feeling today?
He feels good. He feels good. Much better. So yesterday was sort of just kind of taking a day, and he'll be back in there soon.
What is the plan for?
Yeah, tomorrow. He'll be back in there tomorrow. That's my
Dave,
plan.
Dave, what's the update for Victor? I mean, how is he looking at right now?
Victor looks good. So he threw yesterday in a live. The ball's coming out really well. So the velocity is where it needs to be. He's continuing to refine his slider, but the number one thing with Victor is the fastball, the two-seamer. And so if that's right and he can command it, it opens up a lot of good things. So Victor's healthy, like I said before. He's in great shape, and he's right where he needs to be.
Dave, when you look at Lux in left field, do you feel like he's embracing that more because that's where he might be able to get at bats?
Yeah, I think Gavin is embracing being a Dodger, being a baseball player, and it's easy to accept that when you see guys in the organization that have flourished, whether it's Kike when he was doing it, whether it's Chris Taylor doing it, other guys that we've had that have sort of bounced around, and it just adds to the versatility, and it just makes him more of a valuable baseball player. So it didn't even have to be sold to him. So Gavin is a smart guy and understands that it also gives him more opportunities to take at bats.
Yeah.
How much outfield work has he been doing this camp?
He's done. It's a part of his routine. So as far as getting out there, even shagging, I don't know if he's worked a whole bunch with Clayton, but just being out there taking balls off the bat, and I think cutting his teeth last year was huge for, kind of the anxiety and getting past that.
Was that something you guys told him going into the off season that was probably going to be part of the plan again this year to work on during the winter?
No, it wasn't. I think that he's smart enough to understand that you're looking at the roster going forward. I think that he understood that if he wanted to play more, opening up left field gives him a better chance.
How difficult was it to sort of have him jump into the outfield the way he did last year?
It was something that it took a buy-in. That was the sell, and it took a buy-in from Gavin, because you're in the middle of a season, in the middle of a pennant race, and to, as a coach, you don't ever want to put a player in a position to fail, and so we needed that buy-in from him to say, hey, you haven't done it before, but we're in it with you, and it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some it's not going to be easy, and we saw that last year. But there was no excuse making, and I would do the same thing again. I trust him, and like I said, and so I think he learned from that, and it was good for him.
What is it about him doing the sales job on that for him?
What's that?
Who is the one who's actually having to do the selling on that?
Well, it was more of, and I say that tongue in cheek, it's more of just the conversation. It was like, dude, this is what we need. You want to play, you're swinging the bat well. This is the way to get you in the lineup.
Moving a guy in the infield to the outfield, it's not everyone can do that right away. But what is it about him that kind of makes him a good candidate for you to trust him out there? Is it his athleticism? What is it?
I think it's the athleticism. He's an athlete, and so it's certainly different. The reads off the bat, line drives and fly balls, and then the wall, which we obviously learned about last year. But this is something, it was a crash course. And so I think the open-mindedness from Gavin was the most important part of it. And now you layer it on his skill set, made it a lot easier.
Are you guys still kind of taking stock of him as a player overall? Because for as much as he's been around, it still seems like he probably hasn't had a super extended, long run to kind of prove
It's
himself.
fair. Well, we see him as number one. We see him as a very talented major league ball player. I think that sometimes it's a victim of circumstance, and where you're at, we have a different roster, and so Gavin understands that. If he was somewhere else, yeah, it might be different, but I know he couldn't be happier to be a Dodger. So Part of it is us giving him some runway, some leash, and the other part of it is performance. And so the consistency of the player, because we have to win here. So he understands that, he's open to that, he's embraced it. But again, him being open to the outfield is only going to make him, in my opinion, a better major league player. But do I think he can be an everyday player in the big leagues? Yeah, absolutely.
Dave, is Barnes still trending in the right direction?
Yeah, Austin will be in there tomorrow. I scheduled Will to catch back-to-back, so it kind of, just with what happened a couple of days with Austin, to get 2 days to then reset to be in there tomorrow, it just sort of worked out.
Is Julio pitching Friday?
Julio's going to pitch Friday.
What do you expect from him on Friday?
Bless you.
What do you expect from Julio on Friday?
I don't know the innings. I would assume it's 2 innings, and Julio is coming to camp really good, and so I just don't think he gets phased by anything. So he's just going to go out there and get his work in and be ready.